So 4G talks about special types of functions, and then it says including hybrid functions, and we'll talk about hybrid functions in a minute. The first thing we need to talk about is what is a function. Okay, so we've talked about relations, all right, in all the other chapters we've talked about relations, okay, and those relations can be one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, or many-to-many. A function is a relation that is one-to-one, okay, it's one-to-one. Okay, so for every x value there is one y value, and for every y value there is one x value. Okay, the only way you can be a function is if you're one-to-one. Now, there is a little bit of a sketchy thing to do there, all right? Because, is that a function?
No.
No.
Yes. No, it's not. Oh, no.
All right, because they're not one-to-one. So let me ask you this. If I chop off this half, is it a function?
Yes.
All right, so you can make functions by restricting domains. So I restricted the domain to positive x there, and that's made that a function. Okay, so functions are one-to-one, which means they only have one x value for every y value and one y value for every x value. Okay, you can't double up on any of them. All right, so that's functions. The rest of that should be fairly straightforward. Okay, the next bit though is about hybrid functions. Okay, now they're written a bit spastically, so let's do a bit of a writing of what they look like. So this, as an example, is question 5, which happens to be multiple choice. Alright, well they didn't actually put the closing bracket. Maybe I don't need the closing bracket. Don't worry about the closing bracket. Alright, so that's a hybrid function. That is saying, for values where x is less than 1, okay, we use this rule here. For values where x is greater than or equal to 1, we use this rule here. So how does that look on a graph?
Very bad.
No, it's not too bad. Alright, so let's actually sketch it. Alright, so here is 1. Okay, so this bit we're going to draw in red. Okay, so anything lower than 1, I need the equation negative x. What's it going to look like? Straight line graph, guys. This shouldn't be hard to draw. What are you going to do? What's your gradient? Yeah, where's it crossing?
That way.
Crosses at 0. Alright, and it's coming down here, isn't it?
That's why I had to pin up like that.
Right, so that's our equation. Yeah? Now, are we including 1?
No.
So what do I need to have at the end here?
Open.
An open circle. Okay, so that's that rule done. The second rule, let's do with this. So if x is greater than or equal to 1, we draw y equals x.
So it'll look like a mirror fraction of it.
So it'll do that. Okay.
It's closed.
And yes, that's spot on. So it needs a closed circle at the end there because we're including that. We've got that equal to sign. That's a hybrid function. Okay, so for each separate domain, you just look at that individual rule. Okay, that's what you're doing.